Good evening. So we are nearly at the end of November, and I just thought it would be nice to make a little video on, just where various commodities and stocks are going, and what I'm investing in and what I'm thinking about. I suppose as a middle-aged man, you have to think carefully about where you spend your money. Maybe you have to think more carefully than, say, a young person who's got less responsibility. They might not have a family or a mortgage to pay, bills to pay, cars to run. Or I suppose you could say that the young person could have all those things and just be young and not have much money. But I suppose the reason I'm talking about this is because it's kind of getting to the stage where it just feels to me like there's so much tension in the market, and there's a lot of opportunity there. There's a lot of risk, uh, you know, a lot of risk factors out there in anything you buy at the moment, potentially, especially crypto. So today I want to talk about kind of precious metals and a bit of crypto investing and what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. In a couple of previous videos, I talked about flipping some crypto to buy some gold and silver. That's kind of, I haven't really made enough from crypto flipping, can I call it that, to buy much gold or silver since that video. And there's a few, 50 bucks profit here and there, but I suppose what it comes down to is when you look at these new cryptos and you look at this sort of stuff, Shiba Inu, and you just think, when you see something like this come into the market down here and literally explode like this, and then you get all this kind of yeah, you know, you may or may not know, just hundreds of YouTube videos going, yeah, it's going to the moon, it's going to the moon. People just FOMOing in, bang, 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 bang. It's going, it's going. Everyone's just buying and buying. And of course, it's great if you bought down here, but these poor bastards who bought up here, some of them may have held on just thinking it's just going to keep going and going and going. And of course, it didn't. And we had the little sell off. Poor bastards dived in again. Another sell off. Poor bastards dived in again. Boom, boom, boom. And then, this was like a rally, the final call to rally the troops, and then, no, not having it. And then just sort of kind of death blows, and then you all the way down here. And then I guess we could say here, 50 is a major resistance level, and everyone's like, no, it's never going to get down to here. And then it does. And it will never break below that. It did. And it has rallied a bit and a bit of consistency. There's a bit of consolidation going on here. And then you look at it, you zoom out, and you think, okay. Now, if you'd put thousands of bucks into this instead of buying physical metals in the hope that you were going to become a millionaire, which I'm sure some people have, you could have lost a lot of money. And now you're going to end up with, if you bought in around here, less than you started with. And people are still hodling. They're still hoping. They still think it's going to be one last climb all the way up beyond here again when the altcoin season kicks off. So all these things are just gambles in my mind. This is why I don't put too much money into them. And I'm far happier in most of the time just buying gold and silver, because I know that I'm just generally happier with the performance and the way it plays out. Let's put this on a 30-minute chart. So really, gold. We had a little rally. Interest rates inflation rate figures came out. They were higher than expected. Gold's had a rally off the back of that. And sorry, let's just go to a 10-minute chart to see what happened recently. And yeah, we went back over 1800. Let's go a bit further back here. Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, and then it's been a steady down, bang, 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 all the way down. And it's like, it can be so depressing. So depressing if you're into, yeah, especially if you're new and you don't really, follow charts and statistics and what gold's doing. Every time you could be buying in here and just thinking this is great, it's going to the moon, here, and then you just get slapped down every time. And now we're back, where we were at the beginning of November, not far off it. And it's just difficult. It's just so hard. Sometimes to just keep putting money in and building up, your gold reserve, your stack. But, if we zoom out and look at the weekly chart since 2010, it's been on a hell of a bull run. We've come all the way, we've gone all the way up to obviously to 1917, whatever the high was, previous high in 2011, all the way down to like just over $1,000 an ounce. So, you know, best part of about like 45% loss in peak value over about 5 years. But then we've had a steady climb up, and then we had COVID hit in 2020, and then initially just collapsed down, and then it was the boom, the new all-time high, and now we're since then really 2075, I think it was around that figure. It's just kind of been sideways and down, and there's been a few rallies, but nothing that groundbreaking really. The last time we were over 1900 was back early in the year, and we did get up to 1870. So at that point, I think a lot of people thought this is it, started piling in, and then been slapped back down again. I think maybe some of this is to do with Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve. He likes printing money, and he's obviously shown that they probably thought the Biden administration is better the devil you know than the devil you don't. So he's going to keep printing money. Him and his cronies in charge of the Federal Reserve, and I think the market's like that. Therefore, the fear's gone out of the market of a crash, and I think they believe somehow that it's all going to be hunky-dory again. So money's gone back out of gold probably, and and some of it's gone off to crypto. We know that. But that said, I believe if we go to a daily chart, this kind of up and down sideways move here, we've been in a range, give or take, low 1700s to around 1800 for quite a long time, for probably 6 months at least. And you could say, well, if all this money printing and equities hitting, markets hitting all-time highs, then probably why do we need gold? And it's all wonderful. They're going to keep printing money, but I think in the back of the minds of a lot of hardened institutional investors, especially those who've seen back in 2011 what happened, I think they know that I think the market knows that it can't fully just let go and embrace everything, all the money printing, and just forget about it, sweep it under the carpet, printing $7 trillion, whatever it is they're up to now, plus another 1.5 trillion for the infrastructure bill. Um, I don't think that can be swept under the carpet. And obviously, the big elephant in the room is inflation, and that's certainly not under the carpet. So I think that's why these figures gold is holding firm, I think, and it's kind of I wonder whether what we'll see now is instead of like maybe we'll see, instead of it being like a 1700 to 1800 range, we'll see gold holding maybe a, a, a level up, so between like late 1700s to mid 1800s, you know, and that will be a climb up. And that period there, I believe, once if we maintain a consolidation phase at that level for 3 to 6 months, early into next year, and inflation comes out again, the figures are still high and then showing no signs, then I do think that there will be a point where the markets will just say that either there'll be some implosion somewhere along the line, some catalyst will trigger it, and I think more money will go back into gold and silver. Now, that catalyst, what is the catalyst going to be to trigger some kind of stock market crash and everyone piling into gold? Because they say, you know, um, it's never going to happen. Some people, they just don't believe that the days of 2011, people walking down the street with their cardboard boxes kicked out their office with their belongings, Lehman Brothers and all the rest of it, those days are over. It's not going to be allowed to happen with MMT, modern monetary theory, which is just printing money to keep everything going. But now we've kicked that can down the road for so long now, something has to break, you think. Something has to break. And what's it going to be? So silver did have a rally again up to $25, and now we're back at 23. Kind of a bit depressing again, but it shows that it did react at least. Um, and I tend to keep, while I talked about Shiba at the beginning, this is just gambling in my mind, this kind of crypto. This is just a shit coin, just a piece of shit that people, a speculative gamble, driven by hype and marketing, like Dogecoin. And I think what you have to remember is that I am obviously slagging that off. Um, the We have to remember that there's an enormous value and power attributed to first move cryptos and businesses, and the ones that people remember. Oh yeah, do you remember buying Dogecoin? Yeah, yeah. Do you remember buying Sheep? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they may all be shit and die off, but they've got like a kind of name. They're out there in the public space. They're gaining momentum. And it kind of doesn't matter whether they're any good or not, or whether the utility is any good or not, because the public will FOMO into them the moment they look like they think they're going to miss out. But it's harder to FOMO into something like Bitcoin because of the cost of it, because you just don't get much. It's a pretty hard pill to swallow. If you're at $60,000 a coin, not many people are going to be able to afford to buy a whole one. And they say they've got 5K's worth of savings, they'll go and go, well, I'll go and spunk 5K into and get a million Shiba coins or 10 million, and if that goes to the moon, then I'll be a millionaire and I can retire at 25, which is fine. But to me, I feel that these coins, these shit coins as they're known, are very dangerous, and you have to be careful. I'm personally been addicted to buying them after making some, quick wins, and it takes an enormous amount of willpower not to just suddenly start putting, $100, $500, $1,000 in, because I think, well, if I do this, I'll 10x it, and then I'll do this, that, and the other, and it's all wonderful in this bull market when everything's going up, and then suddenly you look in your wallet and notice you're $500 down and you're screwed. Now, Bitcoin is having a bit of an interesting time because it's got, it's had these two all-time highs, but obviously it couldn't break through 70, and then it's kind of capitulated, and now we've tested 55,000. There's been a bit of a buy-in around there, but the question is, when I look at this chart, I feel it's almost like a mini version of what went on in back here earlier in the year. It's like kind of a lot of analysts that I listen to believe that it's going to come back down. It has to come back down to this 40,000 level. And some, there's the same amount that's saying never again. It will never go. 50 is the absolute bottom. Of course, this creates FOMO and more people pile in. Because if it's at 60 or 58 and you're told it will never go to 50 again, then you want to keep buying it and just keep the dream alive, There's a big fight going on around this resistance area between sort of 57 and $60,000. It's insane, This probably like 55 to 59. There's a war going on here, and I think the Bears are going to win it. I think the Bears will win this, and I personally think we're going to see this Bitcoin come back down to about 50k. And the question is, if it breaks below like 53 to 50k, 51k, I think we're looking at 40k again. I mean, you could be super bearish and say, well, it's going to bounce down to 30k, and then we're going to go to the moon. 120k next year, 180k. People are saying, and I do believe that whether you like Bitcoin or not, whether you think it's a Ponzi scheme, it will hit those figures. It's just when and how much, whether you've got the balls to hold on to something and see it go. Your whatever you put in. Say you put in a decent chunk like 10k, watch that potentially, get eaten away over the next few months, and then, praying to God it's going to go to 180k. It's going to take some balls to hold on to that. So it's a constant gamble at the moment because it's so young. Bitcoin in itself is only, there's not a tremendous amount of historical data to go on. So for me, somebody like me who's got a bit of disposable income, and I guess you guys probably have as well, while you're watching the gold and silver channel, I kind of sit on the side. I still put most of it in gold and silver, but I kind of don't want to miss the boat. I don't want your kids to go, oh, Dad, you could have bought. I can't believe you didn't buy some Bitcoin when it was 57,000 and now it's $240,000, and then I'll just be like beating my head against a wall and just gutted that you were in this moment, And I think there's turmoil and emotional turmoil is ripping right now through the crypto space. Young people, I don't know whether I say young, I'm talking like sub 30, proper young people. Not that 30 isn't young, but I don't know whether they're that enamored with the good old gold and silver. And they're being sadly sold this get rich quick thing, going back to the Shiba, It's very, very tough at the moment. There's people with nothing out there. There's people with their furlough money, a few £1,000 knocking around, thinking, you know what? Well, I could buy, maybe I could buy a couple of gold coins for my furlough money or whatever I've got, or I could put it into Shiba and become a millionaire. But I mean, is it fair to say? Is it unreasonable to say that it's over? That was your chance to be a millionaire back here in October, and you missed it. You had your chance. You had to be buying in here, tens of thousands. There it went. Boom. It's gone. It's gone, and that's it. And suck it up. Your first loss is your best loss, as they say. It's got nowhere else to go, this shitcoin, except back down here. In my mind, you could say, and that's it. Or I'll eat humble pie, and Elon Musk will bang a tweet out tomorrow saying about his, Dogecoin and Shiba or something like that, and boom, this thing's going to, up here, and it's going to make everyone millionaires. This is where we are, and I don't think we've been in this kind of situation in the markets. People, sort of middle-aged, a huge range of people, people in their late teens to their 60s, all getting into crypto. You've got crypto.com adverts at football matches, games on TV, it must be making people think, well, sod putting my money in the bank, sod um, sat leaving it there to rot. I've got a crappy job, I'm not happy. I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna buy some crypto. And it whole bloody thing is one humongous bubble that's going to collapse and just crush millions of people when all these shit coins go to nothing. And Bitcoin could go back down to whatever it is, 5k a coin that wasn't far off of a few years ago, and everyone will be going, look at you, those people, you shouldn't have bought that crypto. But there'll be obviously two types of people. There'll be those piling in. There'll be, millions of people, if it ever goes up, piling in, if it ever goes back to this level. And all the people that bought here will be just left with nothing, and they've lost all their life savings and going crypto's a scam. And all the smart people will just be buying when it gets down to this 10k level, waiting for the next move up to 180, 200k. There's so many scenarios that could play out. It's just insane. It's just insane. You and all the people could buy down. Bitcoin could crash down here to 10k. Millions of people FOMO in. 6 months later, in 2023 or something, they bring out some law banning Bitcoin exchanges. I don't know. It seems you can't stop it, but something could suddenly change and all their investments become worthless that way. Do you see what I mean? So every way you go, you're screwed. And it's kind of going back to gold. It's just such, I really feel gold is gonna have its time, and is kind of, it is fighting, because I said in the previous video it is addictive buying crypto just because of the greed. People aren't buying crypto for a hedge against inflation. They're buying it to get rich quick. They can say Bitcoin's a store of value and all the rest of it. It's if you own nothing, you had nothing, it will go to nothing. And that's talking for somebody. I've got thousands of pounds invested into Bitcoin. I have to accept what it is just a digital representation on a virtual ledger somewhere, and any number of things could happen. My wallet could be corrupted, it could be stolen, um, it could be banned in my exchange. I can't convert it to anything that I want to use when I come to sell it. There's so many things that can go wrong with it, and it requires quite a lot of technical knowledge. And but yet it's so powerful. It's so powerful, the Bitcoin call of getting rich quick and the whole crypto thing, that I feel gold would be blasting. It would be higher. I think it's taking like a sort of about a 20-25% hit off of gold. I feel the crypto space in terms of overall thing. And I think we'd be more nearer 2000 levels now and breaking through that if there wasn't this sort of sat in the shadows, if you like, this thing called crypto, who is sort of like taking gold's thunder a bit. And of course, then you've got all these gold haters using that and pumping it on YouTube. Don't buy gold, it's boring, doesn't do anything. Bitcoin's outperformed everything. It's this that 3000% gains of all crypto in a week. Wow, I made a million. And it's just, we're just in this kind of whirlpool, crazy situation where I think millions of people over the planet are just sat around thinking, where am I gonna put my money? My money is being eroded. It's been stolen from me in the bank through inflation. It's I need to do something with it. I want to put it into get rich quick crypto, but I might lose it all. I don't know much technically, and hence that's why I've got a Bitcoin PTF ETF has come out to basically allow people that don't want to have wallets and cold storage and use exchanges to buy Bitcoin. Um, and then you've got the other side of it, shall I buy gold? It's not performing. I don't know where to buy that. People that would have normally bought it are being, putting it into stocks, and it makes me want to cry because we all know the stock market's so overvalued and going to collapse. Um, the only stocks or equities I think that aren't really that overvalued maybe are quite a lot of tech companies in the tech sector, because they are tech. and IT is where it's going. And I think if you've got a strong business in that area, I cannot see, you know, short of some disaster, it not being a requirement going forward in the short to medium term at least. Um, Things like Zoom, video communications, people are going to always need that. And one day it might be Flavor of the Month, then it might be WebEx, and then it might be Skype. But those sort of businesses, I believe, are going to become stronger and stronger. Anybody providing hosting infrastructure, web services, cloud, I just can't see those things going away. I just can't see it. Same with mobile phone manufacturers, and things like that. And I have this kind of watch list here. I like to keep an eye on the other precious metals and see what they're doing. Coppers, I think, is a good indicator of how things are going in industry wise in terms of usage. Obviously, excuse me, copper is up. So that's interesting. Copper is up still in demand. Coinbase seems to be very tied to Bitcoin. I want to weep because I bought about 5 shares in Coinbase when it was about $206. It was $4.50 at one point, I think, when it launched. And I held on to them, and they went up and down, up and down. I just sold them off, and now they were about 350 a day. But you can see that they've come down since Bitcoin. It seems it's very tied to the performance of Bitcoin, which is kind of slightly unfair because Bitcoin could be doing crap, and then there's millions of people FOMOing into these shitcoins, which is great for these exchanges. So that the market seems to have decided that if Bitcoin goes down, then Coinbase will go down. And then I keep an eye on the US dollar, obviously how that's doing. That's very strong at the moment, very strong. I just don't know how it can be like this. I really don't. It's just unbelievable considering what's going on, the money that's been printed, the inflation. Jobless claims aren't really great. You got COVID resurging, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and these factors, aren't really an issue. And I like to keep an eye on oil. I think oil's very interesting. Obviously, it's a global thing, used every day, industry, vehicles, people's lives. And that obviously went up to 80. Whether that hits 100, whether that's coming down, in COVID last year it collapsed because nobody was going anywhere, couldn't give it away. Do you remember it was minus. You couldn't give oil away at one point. Look at that, $10 a barrel or whatever, minus. But she's gone from $10 a barrel up to like whatever 80, 85 or $88 a barrel, and now we're coming back down. Now is that just a pull back to go to 100? And you see oil prices have a knock-on effect onto the fuel price you pay at the pump, and the price you pay at the pump is kind of inflation. Obviously, people got less money, and the knock-on effects of that. So I like to think about all these things before buying a purchase. Obviously thinking about all this before you buy a 1 gram gold bar, it's probably pointless, but if you are going to buy 100 ounces of gold bullion, or 500 ounces or something like that, and or £50,000 of the crypto, I think it's good to have a kind of handle on the other market structures, and see what's going on, the bigger picture. So really, Palladium, I just want to say, really used to annoy me as a gold bug. I used to really annoy me when Palladium was sort of so high at 3,000. And it's only because of catalytic converter requirement in the emerging Indian markets needing it. I mean, it's just complete bullshit. And of course, all that's dropped off a cliff now, and there's no use for it. So I can't see anyone. Maybe I'm just talking out my arse, really, but I think that those days are done. I'll probably eat my words, but with green, economies and all the rest of it, I think that's just, it's done its shit and it's done. And now we're just doing a Shiba Inu and just coming back down here. But I want to see this thing back below gold. Gold's the bloody daddy. And, you're probably thinking, well, hang on a minute, does it matter if it's making money? But, I want to see this thing back where it belongs I want to see it sub 1500 and never coming back. Because it kind of a bit shit when somebody looks at gold. I think a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago looked at it and went, he doesn't know anything about precious metals. All he thought was that, gold's the one. And then there's this other thing that's it's worth double the amount nearly at some point. Why is that? Um, Obviously, that has no bearing at all. No bearing at all in real world investing. If you're like us who are buying your stuff in the long term, it's just from a point of view of somebody that knows nothing about precious metals. So that's it really. Kind of just a thoughts on what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about. So I have ordered some gold recently. I bought some gold as a Christmas present for some people, and I'll share it with you in the next video and see what you think. I'm not sure whether it's what to do with it, whether it's been a good idea or not, but we'll see. And hope you're gonna have a good day, and let me know what you think. Any comments or questions? Get back to me. Give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe. It really helps me support the channel, and I will see you soon.